You almost made me leave. Caused friends and family to grieve the loss of someone who was still there. Caught beneath the lack of belief in herself. But for now, I think it's safe to say that neither of us are moving out, so let's try and understand what each other are about, shall we? Mind and I have been figuring out our differences for a while. Mind believes that she can bring you around to our way of thinking. Look, we understand that you prefer to freestyle, but it doesn't work for us when you leave us immobile. We'd appreciate a reconcile so that we can work together on this new lifestyle towards which you've become very hostile, let's be honest. Together, we could compile something worthwhile because let me tell you, when you aren't so busy keeping a low profile, you've shown you can be pretty versatile. Good company. Sometimes you even let me crack a smile, but then you run a mile. Why do you do that? 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Excuse me while I break it down. Sorry. I mean while I have a breakdown. Banging my head against a brick wall used to be an expression. These days it's a mechanism to cope with the aggression, the obsession, the depression that sure is manic, volcanic, at times satanic, the hellish look in my eyes when it's time to panic, as my subconscious and conscious scramble to establish a more attuned dynamic, and emotional pain so intense I use physical pain in self-defense. See, anxiety and depression are my friends. The kind who are always there for you but like to embarrass you in public too. I've learnt when they come a knocking, let them in. Make a brew, sit with them. That's how I win. I've tried to push them away before, but they've taught me I can't live without them through lessons that use force, and now I let them stay. Allow emotion to spill out in any way that feels natural that day. Cry, scream, wail, shake, an expressive one-man play, because to fit in any positive feelings first, I have to make room, expel the negative however I see fit, and then when I'm ready, I'll resume weaker in the moment, sure, but after. Money can't buy the strength you exude. Money also can't buy happiness, that's what they say, but what's absolutely terrifying is when nothing can. Not even the love of my family, that's when I question my decision to stay. It was the most surreal thing. Finally wanting to live again, but realising I no longer knew how to. This world is so different to the last one I knew, like someone photoshopped me in but forgot to airbrush me smooth. I woke to 2 new family members I didn't know were due, allowance to swear in front of my parents because the sound of my voice was a breakthrough. I used to be a chameleon, now I'm the elephant in the room. Growing up, my lucky number was 2, since mum said with 2 you're never lonely, and I believed it to be true. Until I realised you can be lonely with 22. 222. 22,222,222. You can be sat in a room with many multiples of 2 and still feel like you have only you. My body is a prison with a chief that won't listen. Inmate for life, no chance of parole or escape plans to come into fruition. People look at me like they can catch it. Maybe they can, but I'd argue more likely that they don't understand. If only they understood that they don't understand, that would lend more of a helping hand than wrapping me in bubble wrap and sending me in padded package into a secure room where I can be manned. Their corner-eye glimpses of inquisitiveness don't falter, unaware that their customary expressions have altered. All I can envisage is the spider in my bath and how he didn't deserve to be greeted with my wrath. I imagine how he felt towards my judgmental scream. I imagine as I question if I broke his self-esteem. I'm not mental. They're judgmental. I'm not mentally ill, I'm mentally intriguing. And there's something very beautiful about being mentally intriguing. And I'm not talking about how sometimes I forget how to breathe in without counting. I mean the ability to tap into another dimension that some people will only ever dream in. See, stability is comfortable but also restricting, and soundness of mind is reassuring but also limiting. Plus, when I'm mentally intriguing, I know how to behave. Trying to act normal feels like someone turned up gravity and it's sucking me through the floor into an early grave. Maybe I see the world through fanatical eyes, or maybe some only open theirs up to desirable skies. My head is in the clouds, not because I'm high, but because they hang low and because climates don't compromise. When I'm left cold and without light, though the sun remembered to rise, I'm reminded if I don't meet expectations, I am not obliged to apologise. Like that time I felt nothing plummeting from a 14,000 feet skydive, because happiness isn't real and neither is fear. That in your mind. The mind being the most powerful tool you own, which is why the enemy fights you there, because it's where it gets you alone. Head or heart is never a question. My head wears the trousers, which explains why I feel upside down and the wrong way round during any romantic encounters. How can I feel everything and nothing within one breath? How can I feel empty, yet simultaneously as heavy as my dad's eyelids after a bottle of red? How can I want to live and the next minute be planning my death? Forget monsters underneath mine, spoon me in my bed, body's exhausted, ready to sleep, but the memo didn't make it to my head. Maybe the problem is it's midday and I'm forcing myself to sleep, and not because I'm tired, but so something may have changed when I awake to pull me out of this whimpering heat that seemingly there is no reason for me to be in. My body feels stronger than it should ever have had to be, yet still I'll speak to you with the honesty of a child, if with the delicacy of one is how you treat me. If I was screaming because I trapped my finger in a door, it would be easy to feel sympathy, but trapped inside my own head, the instinct is to criticise and flee. But please, try to imagine feeling so anxious that the sound of someone parting their lips makes you feel you could rip your eardrums out with ease, or the texture of loved ones' words make you bite because they torment your teeth, or your clothes touching you the wrong way will leave you twitching for weeks. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at my irrational response and allowing my life to become this bleak. Someone else's inspiration to live when I'm still on a 4-to-3 ratio myself each week. Suicide is selfish, is not an opinion, it's wrong. What's selfish is expecting someone to live for you when their pain is excruciating and they feel they can't belong. If I hear someone say, there's no need to cry, I lose my shit, because if there was no need to cry, why would our bodies insist that we do it when I can't let people touch me? The familiar tears stroke my cheeks and tell me it's okay. It can be difficult to differentiate between a breakdown and any other bad day. Sometimes I get excited and my body panics because it takes these foreign feelings the wrong way. When I consider being more to someone than a passing thought, I know I can't commit to that, so I pull away. Beautiful minds with the ability to travel anywhere without moving. Why does mine travel to such a gloomy place when I don't hesitate on a bridge? I've won a race. For life. When oxygen I need to survive suffocates me, I feel like I belong in outer space. I am rough around the edges and straight through the middle. My language is encrypted and my actions contort as riddles. The autopilot is not an option when your memory is fickle. When it's bad, I forget how good it gets, and when it's good, I forget how bad it gets. I'm wary of good because how bad the ensuing crash will be leaves me in suspense. It's like I developed a 6th, 7th, 8th sense for things that don't need to be sensed. If I focus on one thing too long, I'll fall, so I count as I'm walking down steps. My large intestine is a spitting cobra releasing venom that leaves me temporarily blind to the present tense. Every movement takes more energy than it should. I can walk as instinctively backward as I can forward. Headphones in, no music muffles the external tortures. My skin is worn out. Like me. Baths became an overused comfort, like tea. I never drink decaf, and I do that for me because despite what doctors have me believe, no one was ever diagnosed with something off the back of lack of decaf coffee. Don't let me fool you into a false sense of security. I think too much to be logical. But writing makes you feel happy. No, writing makes me feel, full stop. So I load my pen with pain and I spiel, because this is what happens when mental intrigue reaches fever pitch. We create something that makes the pain appeal, and there's something to be said for a rhyme to help people believe that something is real. The day I began to lose my mind, I began to find myself. That is, when I realised it is okay to ask for help. Even if it means waking someone up. Self-sabotage is enticing, but it is a relief when someone interrupts. See, 2 steps forward and 1 step back is not a royal fuck-up, it is still 1 step forward. So I take the bad with the good and I embrace my disordered and awkward now. I look forward to tasting that first tea of many in the morning, because it means I've made it through another night. Progress is progress, regardless of how slight.